All right, everybody, welcome back to the Financier. We have another episode today. We're doing a special series on technology. Again, today we're talking about cybersecurity. Obviously, it's a really big topic. The concerns. We have a specialist coming in. Harry's going to talk about the risks, the compliance, the procedures. He's going to talk about his background. It's going to be very exciting. So, without further ado, Harry, welcome. Thank you for joining us today. How's it going?
Everything going so well, Rajar, and I'm so excited for upcoming summer coming in. So I'm glad finally we're out of this sitting inside the room.
Yeah,
Great.
yeah, it should be pretty exciting. So I'm glad we connected. So give us a quick background. The cybersecurity has become pretty hot. It has a lot of ebbs and flows, but in the last 12 months, it's become very exciting. Give us an idea of your background into the world of technology, how you entered the industry, and then we'll get into what's happening today.
Oh, sure. Thank you, Raj. So yes, I have been in IT for almost 20 years, and boots on the roof kind of thing. I've been working as a technician, installing, managing, maintaining routers, servers, firewalls, and everything else. And then we suddenly see a big, huge opportunity of cybersecurity threats coming in, and we understood that hey, all the knowledge what we have, we can use this knowledge to do something like and call an assessment and create an audit platform. And we also started to follow all the compliance guidelines to make sure that people whom we work with, whom we are trying to work with, they get the best of the knowledge base and also the best of the team what we have to work together.
Got it. So where did this start? Give me an idea of like where did you start in cyber? Did you start in another area? Usually this is very much siloed. So either you're in it or you're not. They usually don't overlap.
I know that's so true. So yes, as you're saying, we started to work with NHS. We started to work with DHS. They have a very um, humongous initiative about NJC cybersecurity, and the cell, the New Jersey Cybersecurity Cell, also is a very great way to let people know what is really happening in cybersecurity world. That's how we started really engaging ourselves into. So we are part of the DHS NIST program, which is the compliance-based program. So we started to make sure that all the financial industries, all the insurance industry, the brokerage firms, they are following the compliance.
Hmm.
And we are trying to also say that, okay, you know what, there is a compliance, there is a standard, but now we come together and we bridge them. We make sure that everything is as the way it should be. That's how we really started. And this is our third year doing the same thing. And seems to be we have gained a lot of momentum, especially during the COVID time.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So give us an idea of what's the risk now? What's the everyone's moved online. What's the
Mhm.
what's the threat that's either new or wasn't there that people aren't aware of that they when they talk about they need cybersecurity, what are they really protecting?
Oh, because everybody moved working from home, the need for cybersecurity become more and more vibrant. The when we were working from an office, there was a one secluded environment which was protected, and it was the place where cybersecurity regulations were kept and maintained. Now, because of COVID, working from home opportunity, everybody's working from home. So the cyber threat not only stayed within the office, now it reached all the way to your home. And once it is your home, then you have an opportunity to get hacked. Phishing attacks, you also have an opportunity to be something called geolocation finder. So if while we are talking, right, I can exactly find out where you're working from. I
Hmm.
can exactly get your address. And then once I have your address and there are lots of dark web information available, I'll be able to dig out a lot of things about you and anybody else which is connected right now. So yes, it extended uh, at the multiple levels.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So what is the concern? What's the biggest pain point? I mean, I should say, where's the entry point where these guys are getting them? You're saying phishing? Is it email? Are the calendar invites? Where are the areas that you see as a threat in the public or private? We'll talk about banking next.
Sure. So the simplest way, easiest way to lure somebody into cyber threat enableness is going through an email address or email access. So you get a phishing email, which is forces you to go and sign on to some hacking website, which is capturing your keystrokes, which is capturing your information, which is forcing you to change the password, which is forcing you to sell that, hey, you know what? You have an Amazon package been delivered, you did not receive it. And you click it, and it forces you to incorporate your password there. And then it forces you to also put your cell phone number, which also becomes like an asset for the hackers. So that the magnitude of information about you and what we call as a private information identifiers, which just keeps on expanding and expanding to a point where you are completely compromised.
Hmm.
So that's how it is becoming very prominent, especially.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So, what are these new FINRA guidelines that you mentioned? The cybersecurity guidelines. Where do they come from in the banking and finance industry? What's the procedure there?
Sure, that's a great topic. That's a great topic to work on, especially being FINRA has been enforcing these guidelines for all the financial institutes, all the insurance brokers, all the agents, even to the agents as well, to
Hmm.
maintain something called cyber readiness preparedness
Hmm.
documentation, and they are made to fulfill a documentation and submit this documentation at FINRA.
Got it.
It's a quarterly thing. Everybody has to do it. Now there was a cap that $10 million. If you're doing a business less than $10 million, you can file an exempt. So many people will be like, okay, you know what? I can have a shell company, smaller company, bigger company, and I can always claim that I'm below $10 million, and I really don't have to do that. I need to stay within the compliance. So they would say that, hey, I'm not required to follow the guidelines, and I'm just checkmark myself, and I'm off the hook. But with the new regulations, they are making sure that they are now you're going to be audited. And
Okay.
every audit, I mean, you know what happens, right? Once the audit starts, then the loop, all the wormhole opens up.
Yep.
So that is the must need to be catched at this point of time.
Got it. So, okay, what are they flagging for? What's the concern when they say cyber readiness? How does it impact FINRA? Because FINRA is a compliance agency, right? So they're
Yes.
doing the auditing at the end of this. So it's after the fact. What are the red flags that they've seen in the past that's sparked this?
Basically, your information being compromised. So you are a financial institute. You are managing the banking information about somebody else. You are managing the wire transfers. You're managing the fund transfer. You're managing personal identifying information about
Yep.
your investors.
Yeah.
So all this information, is this information protected? Is it been kept with encryption? If this information is under the devices which are secure, is the data within the transition and data at rest. If the both datas are being encrypted,
Hmm.
that is the main requirements of the FINRA to start with. Now it goes to multiple layers, and now the way it really happens is you really need somebody who can say that, hey, you know what, I'm an expert. I looked at everything. I made sure everything the way it should be. And this is my certification guideline documentation that, hey, I made sure everything is right or not. Minute you sign and seal the stamp, then is the time everything makes it sure that it's appropriate for you.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so do you guys specialize in that at Radian, or is it a wide variety of other services as well?
There are a combination of services in that. So what we understood that many people were not really geared towards final audit. So we do
Okay.
perform something called an assessment. So like going to a doctor's office and you draw your blood and let you know that, hey, you know what, you have less vitamin D in your blood,
Hmm.
instead of you going to a doctor and say that, hey, you know what, you have vitamin D less, and now you are been fined for having a less vitamin D.
Hmm.
So instead of being at that portion, we perform an assessment. We help you that this is the gap, these are the bridges you need to cross over,
Yep.
And once the assessment is complete, we will make sure that you are audit ready and you pass the audit and you can be performed to be compliant. That's a key.
Got it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Okay. Okay. So let's talk about 2021. There's a lot of changes happening this year. There's a lot of changes happening this decade. What's the expectations now going forward, both in just IT and cyber? Where should people be investing? Where are they not investing?
I would say people have seen a great volatility in the Bitcoin world, and they've seen the great volatility and into the crunch world as well. So
What do you
the
mean by crunch?
cyber, the where you are capable of mining the information and
Okay.
also converting them into bitcoins as well.
Yeah.
So that industry has picked up a lot, as you see. So now, minute everything starts becoming online bankable, right, or token-based transaction of funds,
Mm-hmm.
it means your token can be stolen or replicated as well, right? So that's a threat. So the investment opportunity for somebody to really work on would be the data at transit and data in motion technologies, which is also coming out to be the future of the trend. There are some industry leaders, but yes, that's going to be moving forward at a super pace.
Got it. Got it. Okay. So is that a service or is it a software? What's the solution, like the product solution in that space?
For now, it's a product. Finally, it will turn into a service like
Okay.
everything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, like how the desktop used to be a device and now it's a service. So it will become a service in a sooner or later date. We are one of the founding process management for that. That we are making sure that it becomes a service. It becomes a product which is not off-shelf product. It is a cloud-based product. So that's the
Got
idea
it.
which we are working towards.
So since you mentioned Bitcoin, there's a level of encryption that's obviously needed in there. Or how are clients either using it or the industry? How are they using it either to take advantage of the encryption or the ledger? What's the relationship for people that don't know of that world?
Oh, yeah, that's a very varied world. I mean, people who really understand Bitcoin very well and who
Mhm.
are constantly working on it, buying and selling, mining it, they are, I would say, already understand the encryption. They're already at the par where they are at extremely non-touchable portion of the life right now. But people who are newcomers, they are tagging along with the growth of the stock market on the bitcoins, and they're saying, okay, you know what, I'm a newbie, and I
Mhm.
really want to tag onto the Bitcoin. And these are the people who are gonna make mistakes, right? And these are the people who's gonna make the vulnerability seep in, and it will expand towards the many other newcomers as well. So that's need to be looked into at much better depth.
Got it. Got it. And do you have a way that people assess their cyber risk in the business? There's like a checklist or like something that they should do before they talk to someone like yourself, or they have a need for it?
Oh, definitely, yes. There are some the government initiated opportunity as well, where you can use the NJCCIC or
Hmm.
probably the DHS, which gives you an assessment capabilities. We also do something called assessment kit. Anybody's interested, they can email us. We will send you a kit. I mean, honesty is as simple as Google Forms, right? So you just
Yeah.
keep on answering the questions, and we keep on weighing you in where you stand.
Yeah.
Once we understand assessment, then you have an opportunity to understand, hey, do I really need a full-fledged assessment, or I'm already ready for an audit, or I'm ready for nothing. I'm already compliant. I mean, that will help you out.
Got it. Got it. That's perfect. Okay. So to wrap it up, I always ask people a book they recommend. It could be either business, technology, or in cyber. What are you either reading, or do you recommend people in the space, or just personally, what do you recommend?
Yeah, you know what? That's a great question. It's a very old book, and it's one of my favorite. I must have probably read 6 or 7 times already. It is is it the book called Monk Who Sold a Ferrari? It is very neat. I personally get attached and see how it really lifts your upper soul and helps you understand the depth of what you really don't need and what you really need. So that's a great book. That's my personal favorite.
Said the monk who sold a Ferrari.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. Cool.
Yeah, it's a great book.
Excellent. And for people that don't know, tomorrow at 6 p.m. the Punjabi Chamber is hosting an event with Harry, TJ, and Vishal. So this is like a preliminary for that event. We're going to talk more about actually government contracts and grants, about that process. That's a very different process, but it's important if you're in the service business that you understand how that works. So that's going to be a more lengthy conversation, but I thought today would be a great way to, build an intro, build up the attendance, and talk about the world of cyber risk and cybersecurity. So Harry, what's a good way to stay in touch with you or, follow up with you if someone has a question about assessing cyber risk?
Definitely. I'll share my email address. I know it's like a million letter domain name, but I'm gonna try it simple.
Yeah.
So it's a Harry. It's simple as Harry at RHI Cyber. So we shortened our web domain name from radiantheritage.com to RHI Cyber. So I repeat, Harry at rhicyber.com.
Perfect. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining. So until next time, Financier signing off. And if you have any follow-ups, feel free to reach out to Harry about cybersecurity and risk, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, Harry, for joining in.
Thank you, Raj. Great to talk to you. Bye for now.
Take care.